Nerves need to tolerate tension, slide and glide, and compression in normal daily life. A restriction to a nerve's mobility can cause excessive nerve compression and tension. Nerves have contact with their surrounding tissues, and at certain points, nerve irritation can occur. Examples include the ulnar nerve subluxing at the elbow, the sciatic nerve becoming irritated through the deep gluteal muscles, and the median nerve compression within the carpal tunnel. The very innervation of tissues can also cause nerve injury by overstretching a joint or muscle. An example is a brachial plexus traction injury from a wrenched shoulder commonly occurring in rugby. This innervation of tissues and their relationship to joint mechanics allows neurodynamic treatment techniques to be successful, and these often include massage of the interfacing muscles, joint support, and the classical neural glide techniques. The ability of nerves to slide and glide effectively and without symptoms is one of the key features of a healthy nervous system. This sliding occurs in three key places: within the nerve, between the nerve and its sheath, the mesenterium, and against the surrounding anatomy. One unique feature of nerve gliding is convergence. Convergence is when nerves glide towards the apex of a joint to avoid that specific region of nerve tissue stretching. Another important principle to grasp are the opening and closing mechanisms. With closing, pressure would be increased around the nerve, and with opening, pressure on a nerve would decrease as the surrounding space around the nerve is increased. And this opening often forms a logical treatment approach for nerve entrapments. Before we move on, it's important to note that there is a difference between facet joint opening and nerve space foramen opening in the cervical spine. For example, the intervertebral joints open with contralateral side flexion and ipsilateral rotation, as shown here, but will actually slightly close the nerve exit foramen. So to open the foramen, if a radiculopathy is present, it's more logical to perform contralateral rotation with contralateral side flexion, as shown here. Two more key points before we move on. The nervous system is a continuum, and therefore forces transmitted along its length, so even the movement of the ankles can influence nerve tension at the neck. And this brings us on to the final principle of structural differentiation, which is one of the key aims of neurodynamic assessment and seeks to identify if symptoms are triggered by neural restriction or local pathology, or both. Join us in part 2, where we look at sliders and tensioners and a more in-depth discussion of the effects of compression and tension.